Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Iffah Atirah and now my group and I will be presenting our group project requirement question 1A and 1B. So for question 1A, we are required to find the goodwill or bargain purchase on the acquisition of Big Berhad, Excel Berhad and Good Berhad. To add, Great Berhad practices proportionate method, also known as partial goodwill method, in calculating its goodwill, which means that in finding their NCI, non-control interest, they use FVNA, fair value net asset, against their NCI in finding the goodwill. Note that if the value is positive, it means goodwill, and if it comes to negative, it becomes bargain purchase. So, moving on to our first subsidiary company of Great Berhad, which is Big Berhad. Great Berhad holds 75% of Big Berhad, which leaves the NCI of Big Berhad to be 25%. This is supported by the acquisition of 75% of ordinary shares in Big Berhad for cash consideration of 960 million ringgit. With this amount, we must add with the NCI and deduct the FVNA in finding the goodwill. In finding the NCI, since we are using the proportional method, we need to find the FVNA first. FVNA for this Big Berhad as at 1st January 2018 consists of 3 items: OSC, retained profit, and ARR, which is all given in the question. Hence, when we calculate all the 3 items above, it gives us the sum of 1,258 million. So, the NCI would be 25% times with 1,258 million, which gives us 314.5 million. Thus, the goodwill would be 16.5 million, considering of adding the cash consideration with the NCI and deduct the FVNA. However, it doesn't stop there, as there is impairment loss charge at the end of 31st December 2021 of 10%. Hence, the remaining goodwill that is transferred to the consolidated financial statement would be 14.85 million after impairment loss being deducted from the original 16.5 million. Next, I'll pass to Aliya to explain on Excel Berhad.
Thank you, Iffah. Hi, I'm Aliya, and today I'll be explaining on Excel Berhad. Great Berhad holds 60% of Excel Berhad, which leaves the NCI to be 40%. This is supported by the acquisition of ordinary share by cash consideration of 322.5 million. With this amount, we need to add with the non-controlling interest and deduct it with the fair value net asset. But in order to calculate the NCI, we need to first find the fair value net asset consisting of ordinary share capital, reserve profit, asset revaluation reserve, and the asset revaluation reserve for the freehold land asset 1st January 2020, which can be found in the provided table. Next, we will multiply the NCI of 40% with the total fair value net asset of 492 million. As a result, we will get a goodwill of RM 27.3 million, considering that we get a positive value out of consideration transfer being added with the non-controlling interest and being deducted with the fair value net asset. So next, I will pass to Siti Kamaliah to explain further on Good Berhad.
Thank you, Aliya. Assalamualaikum, my name is Siti Kamaliah and I'll be explaining for Good Berhad. The holding percentage of Great Berhad in Good Berhad is 60%, which is calculated by multiplying the percentage that we are controlling in Big Berhad, which is 75%, and the percentage of shares acquired, which is 80%. Therefore, the NCI will be 40%. Alright, so now let's move on to the calculation of goodwill for Good Berhad. To calculate the indirect consideration transferred of Good Berhad, we will take the cash consideration, 180 million, and multiply it with 75%, which is the percentage of shareholding of Great Berhad in Big Berhad. The amount of 135 million will be put under goodwill column. And then, we take the 180 million multiplied with the remaining percentage of 25%, which equals to 45 million. And it is to be put under the NCI column with bracket. Next, to add with the NCI, we will multiply the NCI of 40% with the fair value net asset, and then we will subtract with the fair value net asset. So to find the fair value net asset as at 1st January of 2021, we will have ordinary share capital of 19 million, retained profit of 59.7 million, and also ARR of 25.6 million, which totals up to 175.3 million. So multiply that with the 40% and we will get 70.12 million. And as a result, we will get a goodwill of 29.82 million.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Siti binti Hayat and I will continue our discussion on question 1B where we need to calculate gain or losses arising from the second acquisition of shares in XL Berhad. On 1st January 2021, Great Berhad acquired another 20% of the ordinary shares of XL Berhad. So as we know, XL Berhad is one of the subsidiaries of Great Berhad. Therefore, the acquisition of another 20% of XL Berhad's ordinary share is an increase in shareholding in the case of subsidiary to subsidiary with an increase from 60% to 80% shareholding. Under this case, the calculation of gain or losses is as follows. First of all, we take the cost of the second acquisition of 67.2 million ringgit, then calculate fair value net assets during the acquired date, which is on 1st January 2021. The first item in FV&A is ordinary share capital with 300 million ringgit, which we get directly from the SOFP under XL Berhad. The second item is the retained profit with 119.4 million ringgit, which the amount is taken from SOCE of XL Berhad. And please be noted to take the balance brought forward amount only since the acquisition is at the beginning of the year. Next item is ARR with 72 million ringgit, which you can also get from XL Berhad SOCE. Last but not least, ARR freehold land of 3 million ringgit, which is the surplus of revaluation of freehold land. Total up all the amount, 300 million plus 119.4 million plus 72 million plus 3 million, and then you will get 494.4 million ringgit. The next step is reduction in NCI, where you multiply the percentage of second acquisition of 20% with FV&A calculated before 494.4 million ringgit equal to 98.88 million ringgit. Compare this amount with the cost of acquisition 67.2 million minus 98.88 million equal to 31.68 million ringgit, resulting in gain on a second acquisition of XL Berhad as the amount is negative. This amount will be included in the schedule when calculating retained profit of Great Berhad. That's all from us. Thank you so much and Assalamualaikum.